The extent of the honey fraud is just skyrocketing. It is getting out of control.
In the last decade, there's been an increase in honey spiked with syrups like rice and corn.
It's hard to say where it's actually coming from.
On February 18th, 2013, federal agents carried out coordinated raids across multiple states in what would later be described as one of the largest food fraud operations ever exposed. Not for weapons, for honey. It didn't make headlines, most people never heard about it, because honey is something you've probably bought without a second thought. The one you give your kids, the one you trust because it's natural. You'd think things got better, right? Well, years later, regulators and independent labs finally took a closer look at today's best-selling brands, and what they didn't match the label. That's why we're exposing 10 harmful honey brands you should never use. And if you stay till the end, I'll show you 4 brands that actually deserve your trust. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, Grobe Farms. You probably don't recognize the name Grobe Farms, but this company was once the largest industrial honey supplier in America. In February 2013, the Department of Justice charged them with the biggest food fraud case in U.S. history. Between 2008 and 2012, Grobe Farms intentionally purchased 1,578 containers of illegally imported Chinese honey. 2 executives created fake documents and lied directly to their own board of directors. The company's own internal audits raised red flags about illegal imports, but they kept buying anyway. The honey they were buying came from a German company called ALW that was smuggling Chinese honey through other countries to dodge $180 million in anti-dumping tariffs. Some of the honey tested positive for chloramphenicol, a banned antibiotic that can cause serious blood disorders. Homeland Security ran a full-year undercover operation they literally called Project Honeygate to catch them. Grobe paid a $2 million fine and entered a deferred prosecution agreement. But by October 2013, they'd filed for bankruptcy. The financial penalties combined with having to destroy all their contaminated Chinese honey destroyed the company. A Texas private equity firm eventually took over with $27 million in debt forgiven. Also, the lawsuit filed by American beekeepers claimed Grobe's cheap, illegal honey was dumped into the market at below fair prices, crushing honest domestic producers. You were paying for pure honey, while they pocketed profits from garbage. While Grobe was the biggest, this next brand was arguably worse. Number 9. Honey Solutions, formerly Honey Holding. Industry insiders literally called this Texas-based company the garbage can because they'd buy any junk honey, no matter how tainted. Same scandal, different player. Honey Solutions paid a $1 million fine in the Honeygate case after federal agents discovered they'd purchased Polish honey containing that same banned antibiotic, chloramphenicol. Their former director of sales, Douglas Murphy, was personally charged. The company entered a deferred prosecution agreement where they claimed no admission of guilt. They'd intentionally purchased discounted honey that contained illegal antibiotics. They sold this contaminated honey to Sara Lee and Smuckers, which then supplied hotels like the Ritz-Carlton. Potentially 1 million consumers ate this stuff without knowing. The company's now operating as Honey Solutions after paying their fine in installments. They're still in business, still packing honey, and according to industry sources, they still have a reputation for buying questionable products. When major food companies need cheap honey and don't ask too many questions, Honey Solutions is reportedly still there to supply it. Now, those were the wholesale suppliers most people never heard of, but these next brands shouldn't even be involved in the first place. Number 8, Walgreens and CVS Pharmacy Honey. You trust CVS and Walgreens for medicine, bandages, health products, so their honey must be safe, right? Dead wrong. Food Safety News teamed up with Professor Vaughn Bryant from Texas A&M University to test over 60 honey products sold across America. The results were that 100% of honey samples from Walgreens, CVS, and Rite Aid contained 0 pollen. Not a single grain. Why is this important? Pollen is honey's fingerprint. It's the only way to verify where honey actually came from and whether it's safe. The FDA explicitly states that ultra-filtered honey with no pollen cannot legally be called honey because it's undergone a substantial transformation in character. Walgreens even got hit with a class action lawsuit in 2012. A customer bought their nice 100% pure honey, thinking it was actual honey. Bryant's testing confirmed all naturally occurring pollen had been completely removed. The product couldn't be traced to any legitimate source. When pollen gets removed, companies can hide that they're importing from China, where honey is notorious for containing antibiotics, lead, and agricultural chemicals. They heat the honey to extreme temperatures and force it through microscopic filters under intense pressure. This kills every enzyme, every antioxidant, and every beneficial compound. What's left is basically expensive sugar syrup with a honey label. But what happens when an iconic, century-old American brand adds weed killer to their honey? Number 7. Sue Bee Honey. Sue Bee is about as American as it gets. Founded in 1921, run by the Sioux Honey Association Cooperative, this brand has been in kitchen cabinets for over a century. But in 2016, the FDA tested a Sue Bee honey sample and found 41 parts per billion of glyphosate. That's the active ingredient in Roundup weed killer. The International Agency for Research on Cancer has classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen. And here's the problem, the EPA hasn't set any tolerance level for glyphosate in honey, which technically makes any detectable amount illegal. The Organic Consumers Association and Beyond Pesticides filed a class action lawsuit in 2016. Another lawsuit by Susan Tran was filed in California in 2017. Her complaint was that Sue Bee products were labeled pure, 100% pure, and natural despite containing a synthetic chemical herbicide. Independent testing commissioned by her attorneys found varying levels. One sample showed 30 parts per billion, another showed 40 parts per billion, one showed no detectable levels. In February 2020, a California federal judge certified a statewide class of consumers who purchased Sue Bee products labeled as pure, despite containing glyphosate residue. The judge rejected Sue Bee's argument that the plaintiff had a preposterous, unrealistic definition of purity. Thousands of California residents who bought Sue Bee clover honey, Aunt Sue's Farmers Market clover honey, or Aunt Sue's raw honey between 2014 and 2020 became part of the class. Sue Bee argued the glyphosate wasn't added during manufacturing, but came from bees encountering the herbicide in nature. But consumers don't care how it got there. When you buy honey labeled 100% pure for a premium price, you're not expecting weed killer. The lawsuit was ultimately dismissed in 2020 on technical grounds, but not before exposing that one of America's most trusted honey brands contains detectable pesticide residue. Sue Bee at least has an excuse, but when America's largest retailer deliberately labels heated honey as raw, there's no excuse. Number 6. Walmart Great Value Honey. Walmart's Great Value Honey sits in millions of American homes. It's cheap, it's convenient, and the label says raw and organic. But a 2022 federal lawsuit revealed that those labels are lies. A case filed in the 7th Circuit included lab testing of Great Value's raw honey that showed HMF levels of 22 milligrams per kilogram. That's more than twice the normal amount for truly raw honey. HMF, or hydroxymethylfurfuryl, forms when honey gets overheated or stored improperly. High levels prove the honey was cooked despite that raw label. And it gets worse. The organic raw honey version showed mannose levels 3 times higher than normal. When mannose levels spike like that, it's a clear indicator of syrup adulteration. According to FDA regulations, honey mixed with other sweeteners legally cannot be called honey. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2025, but on a technicality, not on merit. The testing results stand unchallenged. Walmart, America's largest retailer, was selling overheated, possibly adulterated honey with fraudulent labels and charging premium prices for the raw and organic versions. And they knew most customers would never test what's actually in the bottle. If Walmart's private label honey is questionable, surely this next brand's upscale branding means better quality, right? Wrong. Number 5, Target, Good & Gather, Market Pantry, Archer Farms. Target positions itself as the upscale alternative to Walmart. Cleaner stores, better branding, higher prices. Surely their honey is better quality? Not even close. In 2012, 5 Florida residents sued Target Corporation for selling ultra-filtered honey under multiple private label brands, Market Pantry, Archer Farms, and what's now called Good & Gather. Lab testing commissioned by the law firms Morgan & Morgan and Levine Kellogg showed these products contained absolutely zero pollen. Florida is one of the few states with an actual honey standard. Under Florida law, anything labeled honey must contain pollen. Without pollen, it legally cannot be called honey. The lawsuits argued Target knowingly violated state law by selling pollen-free products labeled as honey. Now, what was Target's defense? They claimed ultrafiltration is necessary to give honey that clear look consumers prefer and to prevent crystallization. But natural real honey crystallizes. When companies remove all the pollen to keep honey liquid and crystal clear, they're doing it for one reason: to hide where it came from. Without pollen, there's no way to verify the honey came from legitimate, safe sources instead of questionable Chinese imports. Target charges premium prices compared to Walmart, but their honey went through the exact same shady ultrafiltration process to hide its origins. Target is bad, but this next brand built an entire empire on being a quirky, health-conscious alternative. Number 4, Trader Joe's Manuka Honey. Trader Joe's built an empire on the perception that they're the good guys. Quirky branding, Hawaiian shirts, products that feel more authentic and healthy. So when they slapped 100% New Zealand Manuka honey on their jars and charged $13.99, customers believed them. They shouldn't have. In 2018, independent testing showed Trader Joe's Manuka honey contained only 57.3% to 62.6% actual Manuka pollen, not 100%, not even close. The rest was generic honey blended in to stretch the product. Real Manuka honey costs $100 or more for a jar because it comes exclusively from New Zealand's Manuka bush and contains unique antibacterial compounds like methylglyoxal. It's literally medicine in a jar. That's why it commands those insane prices. Trader Joe's was selling their Manuka for $13.99. That suspiciously low price should have been the first red flag. The lawsuit was ultimately dismissed in 2021 under a technical ruling about FDA labeling rules. The court said that, as long as Manuka was the primary floral source, Trader Joe's could legally call it Manuka honey, even if it was less than 60% Manuka. But here's the thing, after the lawsuit, Trader Joe's quietly relabeled the product as multi-floral honey. Why would they do that if they were selling a legitimate product? Trader Joe's betrayed customers, but at least they weren't charging premium prices for heated, adulterated honey. Number 3, Nature Nate's Honey. You've probably seen Nature Nate's at Walmart or Sam's Club. The label proudly declares 100% pure, raw, and unfiltered honey. It's one of the most popular raw honey brands in America, commanding premium prices around $15 to $20 for 32 ounces. In February 2019, a customer filed a class action lawsuit that exposed some disturbing facts. Lab testing showed Nature Nate's honey had been heated to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Raw honey starts losing its prized enzymes above 105 degrees. Those enzymes are exactly what you're paying premium prices for. Court documents even stated the tested samples showed that syrups had been added to the honey. The lawsuit was dismissed in 2021 on technical grounds, not because the testing was wrong. Nature Nate's is still selling the same products with the same raw labels today, despite documented evidence suggesting otherwise. Nature Nate's might be lying about their honey being raw, but at least it won't put you in the emergency room. Number 2, Royal Honey Products. Now we're entering truly dangerous territory. In July 2022 and again in December 2024, the FDA issued public health warnings about products marketed as Royal Honey being sold for sexual enhancement. These products showed up on Amazon, eBay, Walmart's website, Etsy, and in retail stores. FDA lab analysis confirmed these products contained tadalafil and sildenafil. Those are the active ingredients in Cialis and Viagra, prescription drugs for erectile dysfunction. Except these ingredients weren't listed anywhere on the label. Consumers buying all-natural honey-based supplements had absolutely no idea they were taking pharmaceutical drugs. The FDA warned 4 companies in 2022, Thirsty Run LLC, also known as US Royal Honey LLC, MKS Enterprise LLC, Shopvax.com, and 1AM USA Incorporated. Why is this so dangerous? Because tadalafil and sildenafil interact with nitrates, which are prescription drugs commonly taken by people with diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or heart disease. That interaction can drop blood pressure to life-threateningly low levels. It can cause heart attacks and strokes. People could be taking these honey products thinking they're getting a natural supplement and end up in the emergency room. They'd have no idea to tell doctors they took prescription drugs because the label said it was just honey with ginseng and herbs. In February 2024, U.S. Customs seized a shipment of 2,880 packets of Royal Honey Vitamax VIP at a DHL facility in Rochester, after lab testing confirmed it contained tadalafil. The FDA gave these companies 15 days to respond or face seizure, injunction, or criminal investigation. By April 2024, the agency had issued warnings about 18 additional honey-based sexual supplements containing hidden drugs. You think you're buying a health product. You're actually buying unlabeled prescription drugs that could kill you if you're on the wrong medications. Royal honey products are bad enough, but what if your neighborhood supermarket sells the exact same ultra-filtered garbage? Number 1. Publix, Aldi, Safeway, Kroger, H-E-B. Remember those Florida lawsuits from 2012? Publix was named alongside Target and Walgreens. Their private label honeys, including Orange Blossom and Pure Clover, were ultra-filtered to the point of containing 0 pollen. Publix is the beloved grocery chain of the Southeast, but their honey violated Florida's honey standard. Aldi's Berry Hill Clover honey had the same story. Class action lawsuit 0 pollen couldn't legally be called honey under Florida law. Experts suspected this was done to hide cheap Chinese imports that might contain antibiotics or heavy metals. As for Safeway and Albertsons' Signature Select Clover honey, food watchdog site Small Batch Goodness confirmed 0 pollen in their samples. The label claimed it was raw and unfiltered, while selling a product that was heated and ultra-filtered. Kroger, America's largest supermarket chain, sells honey labeled pure and grade A. But independent testing revealed high HMF levels, indicating overheating that destroyed natural enzymes and created potentially toxic compounds. H-E-B, the Texas grocery giant, sold honey in cute bear-shaped bottles labeled Grade A Fancy. But most samples were stripped of pollen and industrially processed into nutritionally dead syrup. And because Texas doesn't have strict honey standards like Florida, H-E-B could legally sell this garbage. Here's what ties all these together. Professor Von Bryant's landmark study for Food Safety News found that 76% of honey from major grocery stores was absent of pollen. 77% from big box stores like Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, and Target had no pollen. And 100% from drugstores had no pollen. You walk into your local grocery store and see entire aisles of honey bottles. 3/4 of them aren't legally honey. They're ultra-filtered industrial sweeteners with honey labels. The supermarkets know, the suppliers know, and they're counting on you not knowing. All right, let's take a breather. That was a lot. But not all honey brands are like that. There are honey brands that actually did things right and still do, and here are 4 of them. But first, if this video's been helpful, hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments, which of these brands have you been using? And after everything you've seen, yes, would you still use them? Now let's get into the good ones. Number 1. YS Eco Bee Farms. This family-run operation has been doing beekeeping for 4 generations. They follow one rule: keep honey exactly as it is in the hive. No pasteurization, no microfiltration, no additives. The spruce seed's named YS Eco Bee Farms, the best overall honey for its unmatched purity. It's thick and creamy with natural crystallization, exactly what real honey should look like. It carries USDA organic, non-GMO project verified, and True Source certified labels. All 3 certifications mean independent third parties verify the supply chain from apiary to jar. It costs about $30 for a 22-ounce jar. That's not cheap, but you're paying for honey that wasn't laundered through China. If you want real honey, this is what real honey costs. Number 2. Local Hive Honey. Founded in 1924 as Rice's Honey and rebranded as Local Hive in 2018, this company partners with hundreds of American beekeepers to deliver region-specific honey. They offer 23 regional varieties like California, Florida, Pacific Northwest, and Midwest. Every jar is 100% raw, unfiltered, and unpasteurized. More importantly, it's True Source certified. That means the entire supply chain has been traced and verified. When you buy Local Hive, you're supporting American beekeepers instead of honey launderers. You can taste the difference between regional varieties because they're actually from those regions, not blended from 12 different countries. Number 3. Be Well Honey. This South Carolina producer makes honey from diverse floral sources: blackberry, sugar maple, holly, tulip poplar, blueberry blossoms. That diversity creates a rich, layered sweetness that Tasting Table described as heavenly. Be Well's sourwood honey made from rare sourwood blossoms has won national awards. Tasting Table ranked Be Well among the top 2 raw honey brands in America for its thick texture and authentic aroma. It's raw and unfiltered, packaged in those classic bear-shaped bottles. Because it's from a regional producer with documented sources, you know exactly where it came from. Number 4. Wetherspoon Manuka Honey. After that Trader Joe's Manuka scandal, you might be wondering if real Manuka honey even exists. It does, but you need to buy from verified sources. Wetherspoon sources exclusively from New Zealand and uses the K-Factor rating system with independent testing for Manuka pollen content. They're non-GMO Project Verified and True Source certified. Most importantly, they never blend Manuka with cheaper honey. The Spruce Eats named Weatherspoon the best Manuka honey for its rigorous quality control and verified methyl glyoxal content. The K-Factor 16 rating means significant Manuka pollen percentage confirmed by testing. It costs around $40 for a 500-gram jar. That's expensive. But real Manuka honey is expensive because it's rare and genuinely medicinal. And Weatherspoon's price reflects actual costs, not markup on a fake product. But what if you want to test your honey right now? Try these quick tests. Drop a spoonful in cold water. Real honey sinks and stays together. Fake honey dissolves quickly. Put your jar in the fridge for 2 days. Real honey crystallizes into fine, uniform crystals. Fake honey either stays liquid or forms chunky clumps. Drop honey on a paper towel. Real honey sits on top without soaking through. Fake honey absorbs and leaves a wet ring. And here's the easiest test. Look at it. Real honey is slightly cloudy because it contains pollen. If it's crystal clear, that's your first red flag. So, 10 honey brands. The $180 million Honeygate fraud. Banned antibiotics in pure honey. Hidden Viagra in natural products. Even entire supermarket chains selling pollen-free sweetener under honey labels. And look, nobody expects to have to investigate honey. That's the point. It's sold as simple, natural, and safe. And most people never think twice about it. But now you know what to look out for and what actually holds up. And even better, support your local beekeepers at farmers markets. If this investigation opened your eyes, hit that like button. Subscribe so you don't miss our next food fraud expose. Tell us which brand shocked you most, and share this with someone who needs to know what they're really putting in their body. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.